Here we are at question 21 of LSAT PrepTest 157's second section, the first logical reasoning section over at lawhub.lsac.org. We've got a highlight tool ready to go, and we're going to read the question stem first. Which one of the following principles, if valid, most helps to justify the essayist's reasoning? So I'm going to just highlight principles and justify the essayist's reasoning as the task. And we know that justification is really just a fancy kind of strengthen. So we're going to read the essayist's statements and identify the conclusion, highlight that conclusion, and then just broadly predict what might strengthen that conclusion based on the information provided in the paragraph. So from the top with the essayist, commitment to relationships or careers is commonly held to be virtuous. Okay, that's just a fact. But all commitments should be seen as morally neutral. Well, I immediately recognize this recommendation term of should. While I wouldn't highlight it in the actual exam, I should note that this is probably my conclusion. Then we keep going. After all, what one is committed to might be either good or bad. For example, commitment to a relationship that benefits none of the people involved deserves no praise. Often, commitment is nothing more than involvement that has outlasted its original justification. And of course, we do know that this is our conclusion, and we can probably clean that up just a little bit. We'll get rid of the but because it really is about everything after that transition term. That all commitments should be seen as morally neutral. And the reason for that is that if you just stick to a relationship that benefits no one, you deserve no praise. And often commitment is just going beyond the original justification. So we've got all of these facts in mind, and we're going to look for reasons to eliminate that include things that are vague in the answer choices, information that requires additional information in the answer choices that make this conclusion that all commitments should be seen as morally neutral less likely, which becomes a reversal, or something that truly has no impact either way on this conclusion and largely introduces a new variable. So we start with choice A. Any commitment that is morally neutral either has outlasted its original justification or deserves no praise or both. So let's hold on to this. This is at least talking about the circumstance here, the commitment, moral, neutral, and original justification, all those sorts of things. So we'll just hold choice A. It's certainly got the right terms. Then choice B, commitment to a relationship or career is virtuous when, but only when, the relationship or career is good. Well, we know that in that opening sentence, the essayist states that commitment to relationships or careers is commonly held to be virtuous, but that's not a position of the essayist. So we can eliminate choice B as referring to another's opinion, not the opinion of the essayist directly. Then choice C, if a commitment deserves no praise, then that commitment is morally neutral. Well, here's the issue. That's already kind of assumed in the argument overall. And that would limit it to a certain type of commitment being morally neutral, whereas the essayist says that all commitments should be seen as morally neutral. So we can eliminate choice C as actually narrowing the scope of the argument to a conclusion that the essayist would say is not broad enough. Then we've got choice D. If a commitment has outlasted its original justification, then it cannot be virtuous. Well, it's not about virtuousness. And we can see it's morally neutral instead. So that's a term shift that we can eliminate for that reason. Then choice E, all commitments are morally neutral if there are any commitments that are undeserving of praise. And when we were working through choice C, that should have helped make us note that we're concerned with all commitments, not any commitment. So we can eliminate choice A for introducing the idea of any commitment. And once again, limiting the scope of the argument to a constriction that actually is not broad enough for the essayist. Whereas choice E states exactly what the essayist wants to, which is that all commitments should be seen as morally neutral simply because there are certain commitments that are undeserving of praise.